make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Roar. Roar.
Colonel Ironsides here. 200 years I stood in the gap, fighting those who would harm my country. It was my honor, my sacred duty, so help me God. 9 times they took my life. 9 times I stood back up and made them pay. The freedom fighter and I could handle anything, but someone betrayed me. I was ambushed, made mortal, rendered powerless, and retired. They passed an amendment that made me a civilian before I left the hospital. For 50 years, I watched my country change. Watched its work while erasing me from history. The day I quit my job, I powered up and discovered they lied about that too. I'll remind them of freedom. I'll remind them of duty. I'll remind them of their oaths and who they serve. I'll remind them while I'm shoving it down their throats.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I want to know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I want to know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Gen X Files, pop culture from the point of view of the people who were there when it was written. So welcome to my show, my fellow Gen Xer from Scotland. We got to play the intro, don't we? We got to play the intro.
If it's no Scottish, it's crap! I love it. My intro on a Monday night. Excellent.
Whoop.
Hello. How y'all doing?
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh, how are y'all doing? No, it's just
What?
you. It's just you and me. I get so used to having a whole bunch of people on. It's just us.
Yeah, I know. This too big?
Yeah.
This too big for her? Yeah.
Wow, that's what
Anyway.
she said.
But
Anyway.
This is starting out. It's starting out swimmingly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
quite
little
so,
too big.
quite so.
Let's go
Okay.
back. Let's go back to here. All right. Anyway.
Normal size. Normal size.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Well,
Oh, goodness.
I gotta have my sheep.
Oh.
Yeah, I gotta have the sheep. You know, Trump and
Yeah,
Musk are
I mean-
bad.
That's just reminds me of the whole Billy Connolly joke about mad cow disease. We had mad cow disease, but we're all right. No. Sorry.
Billy Connolly. Who's
Yeah.
funnier, Craig Ferguson or Billy Connolly?
I've seen more Billy Connolly, to be honest, but Craig Ferguson's quite funny.
Yeah, Craig
from what I've seen.
Ferguson.
But I've seen more Billy.
Anyway.
I've seen more Billy Connolly. So
Yeah, I call Craig Ferguson the last of the funny late night hosts.
oh yeah, I would say so. There's not a
Yeah.
lot left, is there? So
No.
thank goodness.
How much
I
humor
just,
do we have?
as you know, I just kind of make the Gen X, so I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have no business on this show today.
Well, I've had other people on that weren't Gen X, but you know, but it's honorary Gen Xers, you know, mostly early millennials before they all went stupid.
Right. Yeah.
So the good thing about Gen X is we have the people downstream we can make fun of, and we got the people upstream we can make fun of. And so we're just in a catbird seat, man, because we got so much stupidity on like bracketing our generation.
Buckle up, you're going for a ride. Hey.
Exactly. That's just dumbassery on both sides of us. But you know, the Zennials are kind of, you know, they do all right. They're doing all right.
Some
So
are doing okay, yeah. Some are all right, yeah.
Well, what's inspired our my topic for the day is I have a Sunday school class, and they're mostly older males. They're mostly boomers, and
right.
I was mentioning some stuff that I thought was common knowledge, and they had no idea. And so I was like, okay, what are you guys watching? And it turns out they're watching television news.
Right.
And I was like, how does people not know how stupid and partisan those people are now? I guess it's like the frog in the.
My mother, she watches the BBC.
Oh man,
you know,
the BBC.
You know what? I don't say anything. I'd get a better conversation out of the wall behind me. I'm just like, hands off.
Right.
Do what you want.
Freaking BBC. Wow.
Yeah. I don't watch it.
Right. Well, so my friend Matt Von Swole, who happened to be a former left winger, he kind of like got red pilled by the Hurricane Helene that came through, right?
Okay.
And the Biden response to it, and FEMA and people like that, and so while he was advocating for people in Western North Carolina, he kind of like got an eyeful when people told him he was stupid for bad mouthing FEMA and that the Bidens are doing all that anybody can do. And he's like, I'm here. I know what I'm talking about. And they were like gaslighting him because the news is telling them, oh, the FEMA's doing FEMA's everywhere. FEMA's just like, they're just dumping money into Western North Carolina. And he's like, but they aren't though, you know?
Yeah.
And so through that process of being told he's a liar, and he's gotten swatted, believe it or not. You know what swatting is?
That's when they give out your details and people come to your house and stuff.
Yeah, that's when they tell the cops that that they need to show up full force to somebody's home.
What am I thinking?
Yeah,
there's another one.
Know.
I'm thinking of the other thing.
It's similar.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the other. No, that's right. Yeah, I've seen a couple of live streamers had the police turn up at their doors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Somebody's
Tim Pool was pretty notorious for getting swatted a lot.
Yeah, that's who it was. I think it was Tim Pool.
I think he moved because of it.
Yeah, it was something like Tim Pool. Somebody like Tim Pool.
Well, so the thing about it is after the cops, got kind of earful of what he was doing, what he was going through, they started ignoring the SWAT calls. Yeah, and so they started sending him pizzas.
Oh,
COD pizzas, and
right, yeah.
multiple times a night. So they really went after him hard, and well, he has been an eyeball on these protests, and he's gotten some footage. Now, let me set the stage, okay?
Okay.
So this weekend, there were over 1,300 protests all across the nation. Okay, one of them in the aforementioned Asheville, which is right in the middle of Hurricane Helene area, like ground zero. And but it's leftist. It's the only leftist part of it in Western North Carolina.
Okay.
Which is why the news outlets, every time they went to Western North Carolina to check out the hurricane damage, they basically stopped and ended it at Asheville. And they only seem concerned with Asheville, and
Right.
all the governor to be showed up Western North Carolina. They always just go to Asheville because it's blue. It's the voting base basically. They don't give a shit about the North Carolina because they're red basically. But when Trump shows up, they take him to Asheville, and he's like, I heard that there's places a lot worse damage than this. Where let's go to one of those. And so they took him down 2 miles down the road, a place called Swannanoa, and that's where he held his press conference. And then he just turned the podium over to people to talk about what they've dealt with. That's why he's our president.
Let me guess.
So anyway,
let me guess. The people that went up on the podium and shared their stories had different ones to tell than the mainstream news.
Mm-hmm. Yes, strangely enough, yes, very different.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it?
I know. Shock. I know.
We never saw that coming.
So basically, the generation behind us, and it's the later, or like the earlier boomers. The later boomers hate their guts. Like my friend Drunk Craig, he said that he was kind of there. He was like 9 years old when they started like doing all these protests and stuff, and he thought they were stupid then. And
right.
But plus his brother Roger was in Vietnam. He got he was not a fortunate son. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Have you ever heard that song, Fortunate Son?
Oh yeah, Creedence. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I've got some of
it's basically songs. Right. Well, it's basically talking about how he's not a hippie, because he'll get sent over there and get killed, but the hippies, that rich enough to be able to go to college, that are protesting the war, which is basically the same people are protesting now. Pretty much the same people.
I imagine they're protesting something else, though.
Well, see, there was protests against the war, and then there was protests for civil rights, and so, and they believe in their hearts that they basically saved those poor little black people, and with their civil rights marches, and then they ended the war with their protest against the war.
Right.
Although, looking back, they had no effect on it whatsoever. But they think they did. Think they did. Okay.
Right.
Which is why they tried to help the blacks and the Hispanics and the Asians as much as they can now. Because they saved them. They saved them back then, and now they can save them now.
It's the oh, look at me, I'm so good and virtuous. It's that mentality, isn't it?
Exactly. So my first clip.
Ooh,
you have to see this to believe this. Okay. All right. So what was the hymn that they would sing in the civil rights marches?
I have no idea.
We shall overcome.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, we shall overcome. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Guess what they were singing the other day?
Oh, right. Ah! Ah!
Yeah.
Sorry.
And what are they actually overcoming? Oh, no,
I don't
know,
know.
but what are they actually overcoming?
Sunstroke.
They're
I don't know. I mean,
overcoming.
it was quite sunstroke.
Well, they're
Dehydration.
overcoming. So they're overcoming Trump, like ending bureaucratic bloat, freeing up money, and you know, and
Do you
getting
smell
rid
that?
of grift and
Do you
what's
smell
that?
that?
What's that?
You smell
What
that?
is that? What is
That's
that?
Trump shitting himself. No wonder what the smell
and
was.
so they think they're back in. They think it's the new civil rights march.
Right. Okay.
I mean, just see how many gray hairs were that picture. I mean, there's so many gray
I mean,
hairs
there was some younger ones as well, but yeah, some younger folks.
It's the same people. It's the same people.
Yeah.
And it's like somebody was mentioning to me. It's like, well, don't they want them to save like Social Security? And it's like they don't care. Because the next generations are the one that's going to affect. They'll keep their Social Security. Now, reason they're protesting Trump right now is because the mainstream media, you know, they believe, like sheep like us, you know, but has them convinced that they're going to mess with their Social Security.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like what they're doing is they're getting rid of all the fraudulent Social Security people who are getting Social Security. And I mean, if you go on and check the website, there's like active updates as to what they're doing, where they're doing, and where they're doing it. If you want to know, they're telling you.
I mean,
and yet,
go ahead. To be fair, I mean, let's be fair about this. We don't know. We don't know what the future is going to hold. So we don't really know. We don't know whether this Trump administration is going to be good in the long run. But you know, we don't know that. But then again, they don't know that either.
They don't know that either.
So you know, we don't know. It might. It seems to be good at the moment, but who knows?
We'll see. It's like there's this movie called PCU, which is basically like the mid '90s movie. It was kind of like a update of Animal House, but it was basically making fun of political correctness on university campuses, and he was basically he managed to get the dean of students. But she basically lost her job because they told her one more protest and you're out. And so he convinced the guy, this crowd, the guy who's like up against the dean, who's kind of like the leader of the pit, that's what it's called, which is played by Jeremy Piven. Well, he convinced the all the protesters to protesting.
Right. Okay.
And so they were protesting. We will not protest. We will not protest.
I've not seen that film.
It's brilliant because
I've seen Animal House, but I haven't seen that film.
Right. But yeah, he's like, aren't you tired of protesting? And they're, you know, he's like, so everybody's like, we're tired of protesting, you know. So we will not protest, and so there's a protest against protesting. Yeah,
that makes total sense.
and one of them was so used to protesting that she had like this pop out whiteboard and markers that she make her own protest sign. But anyway, but that's basically what this is. It's like a protest for the sake of protesting. They don't know why they're protesting. They just are.
No, I don't think it's one. It's one of them things where they can't help themselves as well. I think.
Yeah. Well, so this is a guy that got interviewed, and see if you can figure out why he's protesting. Right, go ahead.
To show solidarity with each other for one thing, and make sure that we know that other people feel the same way we do. To build a movement and to let our voices be heard by the people in power.
The event also featured musical performances from a variety of local groups, including the Asheville Gay Men's Chorus and Women's Song of Asheville.
Right.
Okay. So basically, they're just getting together, so they can understand that that there's more people that feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
Feel the same about what?
Right.
What do they feel the same about?
There was the thing of the tariffs, you know, the sign, but otherwise, you know, what are they protesting? What's the subject? He didn't say anything.
No,
he never said what they wanted to accomplish.
No. Here's another one. All right, let's see what this guy's protesting.
I'm concerned about the cuts to veteran care, to Social Security. I worked in Eastern Europe and was told to come home after the president put a 90-day hold on all foreign aid and assistance a couple of months ago.
Right. So
well,
that's the Social
he evidently
Security
was being paid. Yeah, so he was evidently being paid by NSAID money. So USAID. So that's what he's upset about.
And what happened with that again?
He kind of got cut off.
It did, yeah.
So he lost. Evidently, he lost his, livelihood being paid with that money. So of course he's protesting, but he's protesting the loss of Social Security. But they're not losing Social Security.
No.
So none of them are losing Social Security.
My goodness! I mean, if people were losing their Social Security left, right, and center, there would be riots in America.
Right. Right.
Riots.
But they've yet to produce anybody that's lost their Social Security over this.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So it's like, what are you protesting?
Right.
So you're protesting the possibility that you're going to lose something.
Right. Okay. So it's okay. That makes okay. On one hand, that does make sense. It's a concern.
Yeah. Right.
It's a concern.
So watch this right quick. I'll be right back.
So what makes Trump a fascist? What makes Trump a fascist?
He does things without
You gotta talk loud. I don't have my mic on.
Well, I'm not really good into interviews. Stuff like that.
Sorry?
He just doesn't. He just does everything he wants, and not following laws or he's a convicted felon. That's all I know.
But your sign says he's a fascist, and I'm just curious what makes him a fascist.
One of the things is that he's trying to control the media, right?
Say that again?
He's trying to control the narrative.
How is he trying to control the media? Doesn't every president try to control the narrative?
They try to control their own narrative, but one of the things that Trump's has done, for example, is the renaming the Gulf of Mexico, and then not allowing the Associated Press to come into the White House. Basically, trying to get.
What are your feelings about him renaming the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America when a majority of the Gulf is in fact on the coast of America as opposed to Mexico?
I mean, it's kind of pointless. People.
Is it pointless?
Yeah, people call it the Gulf of Mexico.
Don't you think it could have a positive tourism impact potentially?
Tourism has been down heavily.
So I don't want to get into a tourism debate. My question is, the sign says the fascist Trump regime must go.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious what makes him a fascist. You pointed out that maybe something about his relationship with the media, he wants to control it, but how? Again, you're calling him a fascist.
Yeah. Well,
what makes him a fascist?
One of the core tenets of fascism is creating an enemy, right, and blaming those problems on
What's
the enemy.
that?
So paper gave me,
Who gave you that?
The people that gave me the sign. It's a free sign.
Oh, someone gave you the sign, and then they gave you the handout, So are you reading it now to see, try to answer the question?
Yeah, but I mean...
Can I see that? Can you hold that up?
I'm just not...
I'm just curious.
You can have it.
I can have it?
Yeah, you can have it.
Alrighty. So where did you get the sign?
All the way in the gatekeeper's house.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just pretty cool.
And that's another one? They gave you 2 pieces of paper?
Here.
Can I have that one too?
Yes, you can have both.
Oh, okay. So what brings you guys out here today?
Just because I saw people were hanging out with people from... Yeah.
Hang on a minute, I've lost my script. Hang on, what am I supposed to say next?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a guy with this sign, and it has like this really like KK Kazakhstan or something like that on it. And
right.
And they asked him what did the sign mean, and he pulled out a script and started reading from the script.
Hang on. When Bunny says something, laugh at no. Laugh at this. What the fuck?
Let's see. You know, it's like if you watch like say the Woodstock, right? And
right.
And every time they would like ask them why they were there, and it's supposed to be a peace festival. It's supposed to be
right.
The anti-war thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. And yet they were what they were really there for was to get laid, smoke weed, and just hang out with each other, right?
Yeah.
But you get all these dialogues about we were against the Vietnam War and we're here to like, but then you ask them, it's like, well, how is this right here supposed to end the Vietnam War?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just imagined what we would call a Ned. So why are you here? No, man, I'm just here to get smashed.
Exactly. But now you got now these people have grown up. They're like, you know, some of them are grandparents. I think a lot of them didn't breed, but hopefully they didn't breed. But you know, of course, the younger generations of leftists came from somewhere. But anyway,
I imagine so, unless they just churn them off a conveyor belt somewhere.
I don't know. But if you go and you look at these videos of these protests, it looks like a AARP seminar.
Which is?
I mean, AARP, the retired people, the something American Association of Retired People, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get the propaganda when you turn 50. I got mine like last year, but
wow. That means I've just got 2 years to go, and then I get all the propaganda. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But and some people have wondered if ARP is not setting this up because you know, they're part of that whole system.
Right. Yeah, could be.
But these people, I mean, these are the same people. These are the same people that like skipped the war, skipped the draft, and you know, either went to Canada or went to college campuses where they were indoctrinated in Marxism. Yeah. And they're still leftist to today. You know, you ever heard that saying that if you're a leftist when you're young, you have a heart. But if you're not conservative when you're old, you don't have a brain.
No,
you know?
I haven't heard that.
Like if you're a leftist when you're young, it means you have a heart, or that you know. But if you're conservative when you're old, it means you have a brain or something like that. Anyway,
I have heard something similar that somebody said once, that, you know, a lot of people are liberal when they're young, but get conservative when they're older. So I suppose that's possibly true, although I don't know.
Well, you know, leftism is all about ideals. They're about these vague concepts. They're about like compassion, but compassion for what? Compassion for who?
Yeah,
you know, and how does this compassion work? You know, they're always vague about the whys. They're always vague about the connective tissue. You know, all these people that are protesting. Let me tell you how much policy those protests all across the United States, 1,300 protests. Let me tell you how much policy that influenced.
Really? I thought it'd be a lot less than that.
Less than zero.
Yeah. Minus infinity.
Minus infinity. So it's like, so what's the point of it? And the point of it is narrative building. So all these news outlets, the same news outlets that are lying to these people, are saying, "Look, it's a grassroots movement," and yet they say it's a grassroots movement, but why? There, it's all over X. That like Laura Loomer's channel in particular, there's these buses, the men. Like the DC protest, they were bussed in, and in the cargo area were their signs already pre-made.
Right.
So they were bussed in, they handed signs, and this has been documented. This is well documented in several places. But around like a certain pre-arranged time, they all go away. So if you're really passionate about something, if you're not on a paycheck, if you're not like, then why does everybody leave at the same time?
Wasn't there like an online like retailer or something that was selling the merch for some of these protests? Is that what it was? Yeah.
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 Well, Craigslist is like got the there's actual Craigslist like entries inviting people to get paid for protesting.
That's probably why those people turned up then.
Yeah, but if you listen to the news outlets, the same news outlets, they would tell you this is an organic. This is organic. There's so many pissed off people right now across the United States, and yet every time a poll shows up, the Democrats or the opposition has like 21% approval rating.
Right.
And so it's like 21% approval rating, but then somehow 1,300 protests spring up all across the United States. So 1 + 1 carry the 2. Not adding up.
Yeah, don't
it's
ask
not
me
adding
about
up.
Maths is not my thing, so
right.
Don't ask me.
It's evidently not there. It's not theirs either, evidently.
Yeah, I suppose not.
Right. Well, but it's like, but where, the question gets asked is, where were these people when, am I still online? Okay.
Yeah, you're
I must have blipped.
Just dotted out there for a bit.
All right, must have blipped. But where were these people when Hurricane Helene hit? Where were these people when the Hawaii was burning down, and where were these people when Pacific Palisades were burning down? And then FEMA did nothing to help, and the local,
I imagine they were tucked up warm in bed.
Well, they weren't protesting that.
No,
they weren't protesting that. They weren't protesting, the last few years, the Biden administration, like overstepping and, eggs shooting through the roof price wise, and gas pump and all that stuff. They were like, oh, it's fine. It's just temporary. It's transitory. But now it's like inflation. Oh my God. Did you see the Wall Street? I mean, did you see the stocks? The stocks are tanking. Oh my God. It's like, then you look at the graph, and it's like way down here are the last 4 years, and then it went up to here, and now it's like a little bit of blip down, and there's like, here's where the panic starts, right? The blip down, right?
Yeah.
After the, all this year in here, all this low stuff right here, not a peep out of them. Oh, the economy's fine, everything's fine,
No, that's the thing. In fact, my pal was saying earlier on, with some of the changes to the stock, people have been investing in gold again. So
right.
Must be something going well.
Well, the reason I like put that poster behind you there, the revolution won't be televised.
Right. Yeah.
There is a legitimate revolution going on.
Mhm.
And some people call it the MAGA movement. Some people call it, the populist movement, because it's happening worldwide. And yet nobody's sticking a mic in these people's faces. Nobody's putting the camera on them. And if you're watching just mainstream news sources, you'll never see it. BBC won't report on it.
Oh, no.
Nobody is reporting on it because, the very same people that used to complain that their like their complaints weren't being heard are the very same people now who are ignoring the fact that other people's complaints aren't being heard.
Right. Well,
they didn't trust the media back then, but now they trust the media.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. But you know how people are talking about civil war and things like that.
Right. Right.
I was just having this conversation with my mate earlier on, and I just said, people are talking about these things, and this is just my opinion, but we are in it now.
Yeah. I really think it's happening online, and it's a
yes, exactly. It's the information, it's digital, and this is what I was saying to him. I says, people forget that war takes place in a variety of battlefields, all shapes and sizes. So that was what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, but the thing about it is these guys, these sheep, they are actually there is a phrase that Marxists use. They call them useful idiots.
Oh yeah, that was Stalin, wasn't it?
Stalin, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's built into communism. They call them useful idiots, and that basically they're usually it's the younger generation. They indoctrinate them and say because young generation tend to like rebel against their parents against the older. And so what they do is like, oh, you want to rebel because you're young. Well, here's what you rebel against.
Yeah.
And so that's what they did to these back then in the 60s. They're like, well, you need to rebel against this, this, and this. And all the protest songs came out, and most of them came out during Republican administrations during the Vietnam War. If you look at the breakdown. And all of the big protests, all of the violence and all that stuff came out during the Republican administrations. And and suddenly it's like, oh, well here this is what you protest against, and you're protesting against the powers that be. And now the last 4 years, the powers that be were them. And they didn't protest then.
No.
And 88% of the stock market is controlled by 11% of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And that grew over the last 4 years. And so it's like they're always talking about millionaires and billionaires, paying their fair share.
Yeah.
But that was going on the last 4 years, and not a peep out of them. And suddenly Trump gets into office, and here comes Mr. Sanders, with the billionaires to pay their fair share. He shows up, and Elizabeth Warren, billionaires need to pay their fair share, and AOC, a little Marxist ass, comes out like billionaires need to pay their fair share, millionaires and billionaires, because she's not a millionaire yet, I guess, but they need to pay their fair share. And it's like, wait a second, what? Well, before November 15 last year, where were you guys?
I was just imagining. Can you imagine, AOC finally gets into that millionaires club? Congratulations! Now you have to pay your fair share.
No. If she gets in the millionaires club, she'll do like Sanders, and she'll start talking about billionaires paying their fair share.
But I'm just thinking
he actually stopped talking about millionaires after he became a millionaire.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking though. is she gets in, and then now you have to pay your own share, and she'll be like, ah!
Right, exactly. But see, they don't mean, but see, that's the thing. They don't ever mean them. They always mean you.
No, yes, exactly.
They always mean you.
What?
And
Oh, you thought you were speaking about me? Oh, hell no.
This has been going on. I mean, it's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
With this boomer generation. The very same ones that were protesting back then, being useful idiots back then, are now being useful idiots now. The same ones.
Yeah.
You know, they're educated, they're urbanites. You know, they think everybody else is stupid in the country. They're a bunch of ignorant hillbillies, and they're intelligent, and because they're tuned into the news and what's really happening.
Right, because the news is truthful. It's truthful.
Yeah, just
trust,
you know,
trust the news, trust the science.
I mean, it's like ACLU. The last little while, ACLU has been against free speech.
God, really?
Yeah.
Imagine
the
that.
ACLU has been like one of the biggest proponents of getting rid of free speech in the last little while. You know, this wonderful august organization that that's all for people's rights. And the last little while, they're suddenly like, "Oh, free speech is bad. Free speech is actually really bad. We need to get rid of free speech." It's like, what?
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is going on.
It's very.
Go ahead.
I love it. I love it. It's the rights that they speak of are extremely selective. You know.
Oh yeah.
Flavor of
we
the month.
Shall overcome. We shall overcome what? What are you overcoming?
I don't.
Please, pray tell. What are you overcoming? And I mean, you know, I've been a victim of the DEI thing, you know, and it's like they were all about racial equality, and then the DEI is like the opposite of that. It's the exact opposite of that.
Yes,
it means singling out people by race, and yet some of these guys protesting, some of these placards you see are like pro DEI. It's like, wait a second. What happened to Martin Luther King? You know them by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Where did that go for? What happened there?
I don't know. I don't know. It was one of those things. I left a comment on a YouTuber's video yesterday. This was about reform and you know, Reform UK, and the usual suspect, let's say, foreign guy had tried to have his way with a child. And long story short, I just said that, you know, the people that push all this and are okay about all this, it's the same with the people you're speaking of.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever change because it doesn't affect them.
No.
If it's not affecting them, it's not their problem. But as soon as it does, watch their tune change.
Well, it's exactly like the soldiers that came back from Vietnam and got spit on. These by the same people that were like, "Oh, we need to end the war, end the war, end the war, end the war, end the war," because war is evil, war is bad. And then these people come home, these injured warriors, and these people who have nightmares in their heads have come back from war, and they got spit on, and they got like fist fights. They had to take their uniforms off to get through the airport.
Yeah.
And the exact same people. I have a lot of Vietnam vets in my family, and it's scarred them deeply. They never got thanked for their service. They never got awards, and it's like they just like, you were if you were a veteran of Vietnam, then you weren't really a veteran.
Okay.
You know, they would celebrate World War II, they would celebrate Korea, but you know, because Vietnam was like a police action and not an actual war. And
Right.
and they were just that they disdained them, man. You have people like John Kerry who like called them baby killers, and you had Hanoi Jane, Jane Fonda.
Oh yes, yes.
We went over there and manned an anti-aircraft gun at one point, and got handed a note when she was visiting a prison. They were showing them, the prison's fine. The prison's fine. And so she goes to the prison and they cleaned up the prisoners and made them stand in line and, look presentable. Yeah. And one of them slipped her a note, and she turned around and handed that note to the commandant. And that guy got beat to the end of his life. You know, that, and they just gave her a Lifetime Achievement Award last year. Yeah. They gave that bitch a Lifetime Achievement Award. All Vietnam vets hate her.
I can't say I blame them. I think I've seen 2 films she's in, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, 9 to 5. What's 9 to 5 for the Bazungas? It is what it is. But,
it wasn't that. But it wasn't that. It was something else.
Well, anyway, so the thing about it is this hypocrisy. You see it in the musicians. The musicians that, Neil Young. What did Neil Young try to do? He tried to shut up Joe Rogan by threatening to take his music out because he didn't like Joe Rogan's free speech. Right. Yes, that's right. He's been in a few instances with Neil Young, isn't it? There's been a few things with him. But I mean, you see this. They're all a bunch of hypocrites. All the actors are hypocrites. All the musicians are hypocrites. Every damn one of them are hypocrites. Every stinking one of them. Right. And every time they open their mouth, it's just hypocrisy just drips out of it. And I have a question. Go ahead. Do you think that all of it is legitimate, or are they paid? They're all paid. So what do they actually believe then? What do you think they actually believe? Do you think they don't believe in anything? They don't. Right. They believe in what they're told to believe in. Right. They're all useful idiots. All of them are useful idiots, and none of them think for themselves. And Gen X is sitting over here like, oh, you people are so stupid. I think I honestly think the Boomer generation is why Gen X is so conservative, because they're like. I think the reason why Gen X is so cynical. Most of the Gen Xers are just cynical as shit, Right. And cynical, skeptical, which is why most of the people that are pushing back against this stuff are Gen X. Mm-hmm. They're my generation because they saw this hypocrisy up close and they rejected it. Because you always go in the opposite direction of the people who raised you, basically, and a lot of the Gen Xers. We grew up in a time of respect. Respect your elders, respect the police and the law and things like that, and that's all gone now. Well, not that some of the police are worthy of respect anyway, but it's the principle's kind of gone now. Well, I mean, our grandparents were the greatest generation. Exactly. Yeah. And so a lot of that, a lot of our values came from them. It didn't come from the Boomers. No, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. So all these people show up in Asheville for this protest. Okay. In Western North Carolina, all these people show up, and let me show you. There's a place called Bat Cave, North Carolina, that's right down the road from Asheville. As the crow flies, it's about 10 minutes maybe. And it's down 74A, which is it goes from Asheville to 74A, goes to through Bat Cave and Chimney Rock and Lake Lure, which was mostly washed out by the river during Hurricane Helene. It's devastating. Yeah. And so while these people are gathering together to protest, all the graft being taken out of the government, all the bureaucrats being ripped out of the government, and ensuring the future of the American economy, the people that are protesting that, while this is happening.
We don't have $300,000 to rebuild for us to be able to continue living here.
So Jarvis and his small crew do the work at no charge, nearing $1 million worth at this point, but the biggest cost could be mental.
Half a day in, you know, we run across the first death. I can't sleep at home when the wind and the rain's coming down because I'm worried about people I've helped.
Having a support system makes a difference, though.
Sometimes it'll get a little sad, but I just love working with Daddy.
Jarvis's 9-year-old daughter, Maya, is by his side just about every day, and the many families he helps.
It was sad, but I got to meet a lot of people, and a lot of them were very sweet.
Their impact goes beyond physical repairs.
It's hard for me to talk about Jake. It really is. I mean, I can't tell you what he means to us. And he's family now.
Jarvis says he's just helping neighbors in the best way he knows how and is committed to continuing this work.
Because I feel like this is a calling and I'm supposed to be doing this. We're not even close, you know. I mean, we're just scratched the top. And I figure this will probably go on for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see that on the news.
No, you do not. They're still digging out. I heard the Amish have kind of helped a lot, have showed up.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I heard this Matt von Swoll. He's the guy that's reported on this, but he's kind of gotten a real soft spot in his heart for the Amish, and he posted that there was a tornado that went through Amish country, and by the time the federal agencies showed up to assess the damage, they had repaired the damage. They couldn't find the damage because they had just like, oh, okay, we got damage, and they fixed it.
Where's the damage? We fixed it. You were slow.
These people are just badasses. They are like, they're like silent ninjas. I mean, they're just incredible.
Super speed.
I actually have a comment over here. Oh,
hey.
Wrangler Hell. What's up, dude? Good to see you.
All right, Wrangler. I'm getting all tongue-tied. Wrangler. Hello.
Anyway. But so all these people that are like showing up, they're either from Asheville or they're being bussed in because people from Western North Carolina are still dealing with this. And they've got more help from the Trump administration, you know, and they in weeks than the Biden administration gave them in months. That they had the Army Corps of Engineers out there and clearing out roads, and they got roads up in Adam. Like the EPA administrator allowed them to use some rock, which they were dissuaded from using by previous administrations. But they allowed them to use this rock and the bedrock when they rebuilt the interstate. And the interstate was just opened up like last month. And it took them less time to fix a larger patch of interstate than it did for them to repair when it got washed out 2 years ago. And they repaired it quicker, and it's more solid. And and it's just like just let these people go, let them do what they're going to do. And this current administration has done more for Western North Carolina than any of them.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Even Family Guy acknowledged the Amish's ability to rebuild their structure like Deadpool regenerates. Yeah. They're badasses, man. I tell you what, those Amish are badasses, man.
You know something that I don't know why, but this just popped into my mind. But remember the huge train fire?
Yeah.
And the toxic crap everywhere, and it was in the river, and the fish were dying. Has there been any word on that? Is it still contaminated?
Yeah, East Palestine.
Yeah, is it still contaminated?
Yeah, they're still dealing with it, and but JD Vance showed up in person.
All right.
And the EPA is actually on site and actually doing stuff with helping the community. And so, you know, they had the vice president of the United States show up personally because, you know, he's from that area, you know, a little north in Ohio. But but yeah,
it was just when
but
you were
that's
talking
more
about
attention than they've gotten.
Yeah, talking about disasters and things like that. For some reason, I just remembered about it. I just remembered about that, and obviously that happened under the previous administration as well.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what? I saw that because I pay attention online to Benny Johnson, and Benny Johnson carried a report of it. But if you looked on mainstream news, you would not know that J.D. Vance ever visited that area.
Nah.
And that's what these guys, that's what these useful idiots are suckling on the teat of every single night. And they have no clue what Doge is actually doing, because they don't look anywhere but like that they still consume their media through mainstream sources.
I'm sorry, but I've just gone to a place again. You can just imagine that, like, these people are just like sat there like this.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Oh, I'm just waiting for my update.
Exactly.
And then I'm just waiting for my update so I know what to do next.
Well, I mean, how many compilations have you seen where they all use the same phraseology? Every single one of the news outlets will use the same phrases.
Yeah.
Over and over again. Like when they call J.D. Vance weird.
They'll maybe mix it up a little bit, you know, but it's just the same thing. Trump is bad.
Yep. Trump is bad.
He is evil. Yeah. Oh, you just can't make this up.
But you know, I don't know what's going to take. I mean, they're just looking at the wrong things. They're getting their information from the wrong sources, and they're just sheep. They're just absolute sheep.
I imagine that this is the way that it's always been and probably always will be.
Yeah.
You know, there's just some folk are just dumbasses, and that's just the long and short of it.
Well, you know, I think it does have something to do with you know, my generation and the skepticism of my generation, that we, you know, we're looking for, okay, you know, if everybody's telling me this, then, you know, because of my contrarian nature, I'm going to look for an alternative explanation, you know.
Right.
If you break down generations that took the jab, the generation that took the least jabs is Gen X. You know, because
I had two.
Because
so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because if you told Gen X that you're mandated to do something, Gen X is going to be like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." You know, that's just like built into our criterion. You know, and odd thing about it is the generation that took the most jabs are the boomers.
Yeah.
And I think the culling of the boomer herd is the reason why Trump won with a landslide. Maybe. I think all these leftists that were like killed by the jab probably was the reason why Trump had such a margin.
Possible, but then again, the dead have a tendency to vote as well. So,
well, that is true. That is true. You know, Democrat Party, you don't necessarily have to be breathing or, you know, to get votes.
Of course, this could explain why they're trying to get non-Americans to vote now as well. So,
who are getting Social Security?
How come I don't get a
Social
vote?
Security numbers.
I'm not American. How come I want a vote? Can I vote?
Well, the thing about it is the same people that are protesting Social Security are not protesting are protesting illegal immigrants being deported.
Yeah,
and illegal immigrants are getting Social Security numbers and they're getting benefits, Social Security benefits.
Yep.
As soon as they came over the border. And so these people are protesting. They're saying, don't mess with my Social Security. But then they're protesting the removal of the people who are messing with their Social Security.
Well, that's it. I mean, one would think that logistically, with more people, means there's less money to go around for Social Security.
Exactly. But see, it's not going to affect them because they'll be dead before Social Security becomes insolvent.
Oh, well.
And so,
never mind.
Oh, well. We don't care about future generations. We just care about our generation, but it is what it is. But anyway, so if I just wanted to beat on some hippies today. I just want to beat on this older generation that still has no clue. And and I guess they'll be useful idiots all the way till the day they die. But Lord, you know. Eric Wing says, help. So what's up, dude?
All right, Eric.
And all right, that's right. Go ahead, mandated Gen Xer. I got a lot of dirty looks in the grocery store and arrows on the floor of the food aisle. Ha ha ha, right? I'm not going to stand back this far. Why would I stand back this far? I'm going to get right up on the top of somebody and breathe in their neck. You know, it is what it is. You can't tell a Gen Xer no. You can't tell a Gen Xer don't cross that line. So.
Did I tell you about? I can't remember, but did I tell you about the time I stopped wearing masks? Did I tell you about this?
No.
When I decided like, F it, I've had enough of this mask business. I walked into Morrison's to do the shopping, and I'm not kidding. I walked in the place like I was Stone Cold Steve Austin. The BMF walk, and I was like, "Come on, just you freaking try it."
Was there a sound of broken glass anywhere?
No, I was just walking in there. Come on, somebody say something, I'll have you.
Eric Wang, I just watched the boomer yell about destroying the oligarchy by voting Democrat. I know there's no logic to it. There's no like. I mean, it's like everything's illogical. Everything's based on emotion. Everything's vague, you know.
Well, that's the thing.
They have to be told what to believe, you know.
On a different live stream, I said this a few months back.
Yep.
We are living in the pussy generation now.
Well, the thing about it is Gen Z is actually becoming very conservative. And Gen Alpha looks like they're going to be the most conservative generation yet. So, I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't even think I was wearing my Stone Cold hat.
This is a good question. Did you act like Alston in the beer aisle? Did you?
What?
Did you take the beer and
I drank some beer and then I drank some whiskey. What?
Then I stuffed a mud puddle in their ass.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I didn't. I just walked in there. I was just like, I'm not having any of it. You know.
There you go. Well, I'll just say this. Drunk Craig mentioned that he went back and watched a lot of like shows and movies that he liked when he was a kid or when he was a young man. And one of the things he watched was All in the Family. Okay. And I remember this moment because I was walking by and he was watching it. I think they were on YouTube or whatever, and he's watching the old episodes of it. And he just turned around and he's like, "This is really left slanted, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah, man, it's very left slanted. What are you talking about? You know, the conservatives dumbass and the stupid meathead son is the voice of reason." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Holy shit, they've been feeding me this shit my entire life." I was like, "Yes, they have. You know, all through our media. It's been all through our media. It's been all through the music, all through the television, all through the news media, and it's like Walter Cronkite. They still talk about him as being like the paragon of news media. But you go back and watch, and everything's subtle. He was real subtle about his slant, but he was slanted just like the rest of them, you know.
Right.
And so the thing about it is, So the thing about it is this, you know, it's almost like getting a red pill from Morpheus.
Right. Yeah.
You know, do you want the blue pill and be a boomer sheep that's protesting the destruction of the thing that's stealing your money and hurting your future and protesting it like they're the problem? Or do you get the red pill and actually like know what's going on, know that that the only way the forward this country has is to get rid of this bureaucracy and get rid of all the grafting and get rid of all the people that are skimming off the top. And and
hello,
so which one do you
hello,
want?
think McFly, think.
Think McFly, think McFly. And so it's like, so hopefully I am praying that sometime along the line, these people who have been mindless automatons for this crazy left-wing machine for all these decades will take a look around when things start improving, when the economy starts improving, and things start, you know, turning around like I think they will. I'm wondering if these people will still be protesting when the gas drops below $2. I wonder if they'll still be protesting when all the jobs come back to America and
Trump is wonderful.
Start actually having money in their pocket again. It's like, I'm wondering if these people will still be. I wonder if they'll be sitting here like in much improved America, holding hands and singing, "We shall overcome. We shall overcome the success. We shall overcome the golden age of America. We shall overcome and take things back to the communistic, you know, socialist, you know, quote, utopia that we believed it could be, you know." And we'll go backwards.
We're going to overcome something, lads.
We got to overcome. We got to overcome
something. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it is yet, but we're going to overcome it.
We don't know what it is. As soon as they tell us, we shall overcome it. As soon as they tell us, as soon as the nightly news tells us what we. Yeah, where's my update? Where's my update? Anyway, Trump bad. Trump bad. It's like, oh well. It is what it is. All right. Well, I guess we're getting that from Canada right now. All right. Well, thank you coming, Cruel.
No worries.
Thank you coming, man. Thank you for helping me roast the hippies, and you know, thank you. We'll do this again sometime. This was fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure nobody's going to see this because YouTube will like suppress the shit out of it, but it is what it is.
You know that nobody ever sees anything online at all?
No.
Nothing ever gets seen?
Not unless it fit. Nothing gets seen. Nothing gets seen. But anyway. All right. So we shall overcome these boomers someday. You know.
Yeah.
I think they're old enough to, they're going to start dying off, and we won't have to deal with them too much longer. It is what it is.
Back with our feet up and see. Just put the feet up and then wait.
Well, thank you all for coming. Go ahead.
We'll just sit and put our feet up and wait for them to go.
All right. Yep. Well, hopefully they'll die off before they destroy your entire country. You know.
Well, you never know.
Look at the generation that's in charge of your country right now. And anyway, all right.
Yep. Thanks for that wonderful thought.
There you go. What are friends for? All right. So, okay, everybody, have a good night. We will see you next week. I've got a friend of mine who's never been on a stream before that wants to promote his book, and he'll be on with me next week. We'll see then. And this Thursday night, the character autopsy is supposed to be Eric Cartman. Yeah. Eric Cartman from South Park. But anyway, If I don't back out of it. But Saturday night is we're going to talk about the Kraken. We're going to release the Kraken. You know, the Kraken real?
Yep. Nice. Can't wait for that one. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Anyway, y'all have a very good night, and we shall see you later.
See you later, everybody.
Thank you.